All right, first part of 8.3. This is on page 228 of your journal. We are now doing geometric sequences instead of arithmetic. So a lot of the same stuff, but it's just the type of pattern changes. So geometric sequence is now anytime you multiply to get the next term in the sequence. So that's your key word. So remember, arithmetics you were always adding to get the next term, but geometrics we always multiply. So let's say our pattern was let's just say that was our pattern. Can you see what is being multiplied to get the next term? Right? You can see that it multiplies by 3 in order to get the next term in the sequence. Whatever it is that is being multiplied, we call that our common ratio. So in this case, our common ratio would be the 3 that is being multiplied. Anytime you cannot figure out what your common ratio is, you can take any term and divide it by its previous term. So I could do 6 divided by 2 to figure this out. I could do 18 divided by 6 to figure this out. So any term divided by its previous term. So I'm just going to say it's my second term divided by my first term. And that gives me my common ratio. But really it works with any two consecutive terms. So our new exciting formula for the day is going to be this one right here. So A of n is still a value of a term. A of 1 is still the first term in the sequence. R is the common ratio, and n is the term number. So that's what we're going to be using on these guys. So here's kind of a good look for what these will look like. So if my first term was 2, so notice that went in for A of 1. My common ratio, they said, was 3, so that went in for R. So this would be the general rule of this information. So that's kind of where all this stuff starts, is with the basics. So let me turn the page. And just like with arithmetics, it starts out by asking you simply, is this a geometric sequence? So if you look at these, are they multiplying by the same number every time to get the next term? And we would say yes. So when they say explain your reasoning, we would say it's because they have a common ratio of 3. If you look at a case like this, this would be arithmetic, right? Not geometric, right? They are adding -5 every time to get the next term. So that would be arithmetic, so no, because there is no common ratio. So there's kind of the intro. So for the next part, this is where the formula comes into play when they ask us to write the rule. So remember the formula we use to write the rule. This is our new one. First term times the common ratio to the n-1 power. That's our formula. So in order to write the rule, remember for rules, for the nth term, this is supposed to apply to any term. So we leave n as n for these guys, which means all I need to know is the common ratio and the first term of my sequence. So first term, as I look at this, is 6. So I can put that in right there. My common ratio. So what's the number that is being multiplied every time to get the next term? You can see they're multiplying by 3 every time. We leave n as n whenever we write the rule. And that's it. That'd be my rule. So huge mistake that often gets made is people want to multiply those numbers together. Remember, you can't do that because he has an exponent that he does not have. So don't multiply those together. You have to leave it like this. This is as simplified as it can be. For the next step, if they said, now find the 6th term of the sequence, well, now that I know the rule, in order to find the 6th term, I just put in a 6 right there for n. So if I said 6 times 3 to the 6 minus 1 power. So in your calculator, you would do 3 to the 5th power and then multiply that answer by 6. And that should tell you that your 6th term is 1458. So we would say the 6th term is 1458. So that's the new one of the day. I'm going to do number 8 real quick. If you want to pause the video and give it a try ahead of me, that would be awesome. Again, same formula. I'm going to need my first term, which is negative 2.4. I'm going to need my common ratio. The common ratio on this one is a little tough to see. So remember, you can take any term and divide it by the previous term to figure out your common ratio. So if I did this divided by this, it tells me my common ratio is 7. So that would be the rule. And now if I wanted to find any term, I plug in a number for n. So if I wanted to find the 6th term, I put a 6 right there. And in my calculator, I'm going to do 7 to the 5th power, right? Because it would be 6 minus 1. And then multiply that answer by this, and that would tell me my 6th term of the sequence. All right, let me flip to just a couple last ones here to show you. I got 2 last ones to show you. So let me turn the page, go to number 9. Again, on these, we are not graphing, so don't worry about that part. So on this one, they're telling me that the 8th term is 384, and the common ratio is 2. So I'm still using my same formula. But to write the rule, I need to know the first term and the common ratio. And in this case, they did not tell me the first term of the sequence. Instead, they told me the 8th term. So remember, on these ones, real similar to what we did in the first part of 8.2 with arithmetic sequences. The 8th term is 384, means when n is 8, a of n is 384. So I'm going to plug this in for this. So we don't know our first term. Common ratio is 2. And this is the 8th term. So all we have to do is solve for a of 1, our first term. So remember, this is just 2 to the 7th power. I'm going to divide that over to the other side, and it tells me my first term is 3. So now I can finish off my rule and say a of n is 3 times 2 to the n minus 1. And again, these cannot be multiplied together, so don't do that. That's as simple as it gets. That would be our rule. And then here's the last thing I'm going to show you, and I'm going to alter this just a bit to give you one similar to what we just did. So this is just another practice problem if you want to try it just like the previous question. The third term is 54, and the common ratio is negative 3. So again, I have to solve for the first term. So I know that when a of n is 54, and my common ratio is negative 3, and my number of terms is 3. So we're just solving this equation to figure out our first term. So we're going to say negative 3 to the 2nd power is 9. I'm going to divide that 9 over to the other side and figure out that 6 is my first term of the sequence. Now I can write the rule and say a of n equals 6 times r to the n minus 1 power, and that would be it. That would be our rule.